Hey everyone, and welcome to Boston Autoblog. The Hyundai-Kia family appears to be doing nothing wrong in the early 2020s, as they have some great vehicles that are affordable and attainable, while also having some great technology, while also doing what Japanese and American manufacturers aren't, and that is providing a great package overall in their segments. But there's one thing that's missing, and that is a South Korean luxury brand that can give BMW, Audi, and Mercedes Benz a run for their money, or at the very least be very competitive with Lexus, Infiniti, and Acura. And today we're taking a look at the all-new Genesis GV70, which is the luxury compact crossover in the lineup. Now, the Genesis brand has been growing in size over the last few years. We have the G70, G80, G90, and also the GV80. And the GV80 really is the flagship crossover in the lineup. And a lot of people refer to that vehicle as being the poor man's Bentley Bentayga. And as I stand next to the GV70, I'm trying to find a premium luxury crossover that this vehicle would be comparable to. Possibly a Maserati Levante, or maybe even an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, simply because the exterior design is striking. Also, when you step inside, it has an interior that I just can't find anywhere else from non-German brands. Now, when it comes to talking about non-German luxury brands, I think the first few that come to mind would be Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and even Jaguar, because of their long lineages and their traditions of providing some fun and engaging vehicles to drive. However, when it comes to Genesis, they don't have that quite yet. They're still a new brand, and they're relatively young to the luxury crossover market. And with the GV80, yeah, we refer to it as being the poor man's Bentley Bentayga, but there's not a lot of press around this manufacturer at all. And I think the GV70 is going to fall into that same trap. And it's really unfair in my opinion, because I have had the opportunity to experience this vehicle already in the morning, and I'm pretty impressed. So in this video, we're going to take a good long look at the all-new Genesis GV70, see how it compares to other luxury compact crossovers, and also see why it just might be one of the best vehicles you can buy in 2021. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Genesis of Arlington in Arlington, Massachusetts, for allowing me to do this review. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Genesis inventory. And so, without wasting any further time, let's get right in this review. Entering the luxury market as a small manufacturer and experiencing relative success within a short time frame is almost unheard of in the automotive world. Even legacy brands such as Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and Jaguar are struggling to not only be on par with the Germans, but also staying relevant in this segment as a whole. Genesis is essentially becoming a boutique or specialty brand, offering a smaller lineup but providing an ownership experience and vehicles that could very well compete with the best in this price range. The GV70 is a vital piece of the puzzle, potentially being a volume seller, while also not compromising the image Genesis has built in the last handful of years, and that is being classy while also offering attainable luxury that exudes a level of prestige. Starting off with pricing, the GV70 Sport Prestige comes in at $62,500 and sits at the top of the range when it comes to available trims. Much like its bigger sibling, the GV80, it has a sophisticated and premium luxury composure, which is not something we expect to see in this segment. Despite its lower roofline and being visibly smaller than the GV80, it does fall right in line with the Audi Q5 in terms of exterior dimensions. Drawing our attention at first glance is a departure from the typical compact luxury crossover road presence, as it has a somewhat shooting brake or station wagon-like appearance, especially with the addition of a small window for the C-pillars. It looks athletic and fun, while also marching to the beat of its own drum, which is already drawing quite a lot of attention from buyers in this market. Up front, the GV70 has a car-like extended hood, similar to the G70, but the best cosmetic features for this crossover is the complete absence of plastic cladding, and instead a nice balance of brushed aluminum and gloss black accents. Despite not being the most noticeable aesthetic feature, the sharp body lines add a classy vibe to the GV70, making it stand out in a segment where most designs are similar and just lacking inspiration. Giving this crossover an upscale appeal is the LED quad headlights with high beam assist to provide better illumination at night. Where buyers are going to be most enthusiastic with the GV70 is that it stands out on the road, and there's no question you're going to make a bold entrance. Even better, the designers didn't try copying rival brands, and instead they went in their own direction, and that will certainly pay off in the long run. Moving over to the side profile, by opting for the Sport Prestige, this crossover will sit on 21-inch sport wheels, which is an upgrade over the 19s that comes standard for all 3.5T models. Traditionally, for optimal comfort, you'd go with a smaller tire size. However, the suspension is forgiving, even in Sport Plus mode, and when it comes to ride quality, it's on par with German rivals. You'll have body color power folding side mirrors with turn signal indicators to go along with blind spot detection for added safety. Then coming around to the back, the rear fascia follows a similar layout to up front, as you have LED quad taillights, but more importantly is how the rear end is sculpted, as it doesn't have a boxy road presence, and we wouldn't necessarily say it's like a hatchback, as the rounded rear third is distinctive and almost one of a kind for this segment. With the GV70 being marketed as a sports crossover, there will be a sloping roofline and somewhat sportback-like seat pillars for a free-flowing and athletic look, and raising eyebrows is a large dual exhaust outlets to let you know this crossover means business. Overall, no matter what angle, the GV70 is one of the most aesthetically pleasing crossovers to look at, especially at this price point, and it's that uniqueness and sense of individuality where Genesis could be successful in this crowded market almost immediately. Under the hood, the Genesis GV70 Sport Prestige is powered by a 3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine that puts out 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Performance for the price is where Genesis will have the advantage against other luxury manufacturers, as you receive the V6 around $4,000 less than the BMW X3 M40i, and on paper, acceleration times fall right in line with the Audi SQ5, with the 0-60 time hovering around 5 seconds. Where the GV70 is unique in this segment is with its ability to balance a luxury and aggressive driving experience depending on the drive mode you're in. As we'll discuss during the test drive, Genesis is leaning more towards luxury rather than having a flat-out performance crossover, which should draw in buyers looking for a mix of both driving styles. For the drivetrain, you will have all-wheel drive for year-round versatility, and for fuel economy, you can expect to receive right around 19 miles per gallon in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway if you opt for the V6. As striking and eye-catching as the exterior is, the interior continues on with a two-tone cabin, with carbon fiber inlay found on the door panels and center console. Rather than having a full leather interior, the GV70 Sport Prestige will have Nappa leather seats with suede inserts, which for enthusiasts is a great combination, as these seats provide a good amount of comfort and support, while also not being too aggressively bolstered where you could lose some of that luxury and classy qualities this vehicle provides. Just like the outside, you're going to find that the interior is unique for this segment, with both a traditional and futuristic design that creates a welcoming and cutting-edge driving environment. In front of you will be a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and while there are some minor cosmetic similarities to what we experience with Kia and Hyundai products, like the blind spot cameras, overall it has its own style where it differentiates itself from the mainstream brands. Then moving over to the Infotainment System, you'll have a massive 14.5-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to go along with onboard navigation and the 18-speaker Lexicon Premium audio system, which will give us the sounds of nature for some ambient background noise if you prefer a more relaxed driving experience. While this user interface does function as a touchscreen, there will be quick access buttons found beneath your climate control settings, and you'll also have a rotary dial and touchpad to give you some variety when navigating through different menus while driving. There's a long list of features this head unit provides, and we could have spent an hour or more going over everything. But for those who want extra safety, you will have a surround view camera, much like we see with BMW and Audi, to go along with front, side, and rear camera angles to ensure that you don't get yourself into trouble when parking this crossover. Below, you'll find the buttons and touchscreen for your dual zone climate control, front and rear defrosters, and 3-level heated and ventilated seats. This is a nice balance between analog and digital, and is a minor touch that we think many buyers will appreciate. Then making our way back to the center console, the buttons for your park assist features will be mounted on either side of your drive mode selector, and it's also here where the volume and tuning dials are, to go along with the home and menu buttons for the infotainment system. Also, to maximize interior room between the front seats, you won't have a traditional gear shifter, and instead you'll have a dial to put the GV70 into drive or reverse. Conveniently hidden on the passenger side of the center console will be a wireless phone charging pad and 2 USB inputs. For the center storage compartment, you'll have enough room for smaller items, and above will be a massive panoramic moonroof to let in some natural light to the interior, while also making the cabin appear to be much bigger than in reality. Now for passengers in the back, we're going to start off on the passenger side, and the seat is adjusted further back. It's also on a recline, and I have a few inches of legroom to work with here. Now obviously this is a compact luxury crossover, so it's not going to be the most family friendly. I think if you're looking for a little bit more space, you're going to want to go with the GV80, but if you're looking for a fun daily driver that has enough room for you and your family, then the GV70 is definitely going to provide that. Now when it comes to headroom, you have plenty of it, despite the fact that from the outside, it appears as though the GV70 has a lower roofline. But in fact, I think there's enough room if you're on the height of 5'10". You can sit back here pretty comfortably without feeling claustrophobic. Now one thing to keep in mind is that with the front seats, once they're adjusted all the way back or most of the way back, it is going to be a bit of a squeeze back here, but most likely you won't have people over the height of 6 feet sitting in front of you. Now for the center seat, there are some good placements for my feet. However, when it comes to the center hump, it's actually pretty aggressive. So it does impede a bit when it comes to legroom and shoulder room. However, speaking of shoulder room, I do think that it actually is a bit conducive for a family of 5, especially if you have 3 kids. Average size adults, it might be a bit of an issue, but I do think that this is plenty enough. So definitely keep that in mind. I think, again, if we are talking about more of a family-oriented crossover, you're going to want to go with the GV80. Then on the driver's side, I adjusted the seat to someone of my height around 5'5", and I have plenty of legroom to work with here. So if you're looking for a luxury crossover that has sports car-like DNA, that drives and handles really well, and you're looking for an interesting and unique interior and driving environment, then I think the GV70 is going to provide all of that and more, especially where you can even tell on the door panels. It's very unique. You have carbon fiber, you have more of this red accents that's for the trim. It just, all of it looks really good. And the eye candy is not only on the interior, but also the exterior as well. So I think that when it comes to practicality and interior room standpoint, the GV70 is providing a lot of that. Also back here, you will have 2 rear air vents to go along with climate control back here. So you have 2 dials. It looks like we have dual zone climate control when the car is off, but one is to control your fan speed and the other is for your temperature. We also have 3-level heated outboard seats. And then, of course, we do have 2 USB inputs, a 3-pronged outlet, and rounding out the rear seating area, you do get a center armrest with 2 cup holders. Now coming around to the back, you're going to receive a power liftgate. And inside, you're going to have enough room for groceries, smaller items, camera gear if you have it, and of course, I'd say 3 to 4 bags of luggage if you are going on a road trip with the family. Now the day I'm filming the GV70, rear cargo space has not been released yet, so by eyeing this, I'd say it's going to be on par with the Audi Q5 and other smaller compact luxury crossovers, just because with the lower roofline, you will be sacrificing a bit when it comes to that rear cargo space, but it's still very practical for daily use, of course. Now, I do have enough room for everything that I have with me today, along with this longer box, which I do think is the rear cargo cover. Then with the second row seats folded, that space will right around double in size. So overall, you have a great daily driver, and this is one of the reasons why you want to go with the GV70 over, say, a G70, G80, or any luxury sedan. But the way this vehicle drives, and we're going to get into that in a few seconds, it's going to drive like a car, it's going to perform like a car, so it's a great practical option if you're looking to buy a vehicle at around $60,000. Now, interestingly enough, though, is that the rear cargo area is pretty wide, especially near the back of the vehicle. So you're going to have some smaller compartments for, say, a first aid kit or water bottles or maybe even car detail equipment. And of course, you will have a 12-volt outlet found on the right side of the rear cargo area. Then on either side of the rear cargo area, you will have some quick release tabs to quickly and conveniently lower those second row seats. So if you are carrying a lot with you, you can conveniently lower them without using any physical labor whatsoever. And then once you're done, just press the button and the lift gate will close automatically. All right, so let's take the all-new Genesis GV70 out for a test drive to see how it performs, how it handles, how it drives, and how it compares to other compact luxury crossovers on the market. But also, more importantly, this is the first time I have seen this vehicle. This is going to be the first time I've experienced it, and this is all going to be raw emotion because I am really blown away with the interior of this vehicle. This is next level stuff, and for a non-German brand, this is huge. So let's get started. Now, we often say that the GV80 is the poor man's Bentley Bentayga, but I don't know what you would categorize the GV70 as, because this is next level stuff for a compact luxury crossover. Just the interior layout, even the design is very memorable. I love the sleek rear end, and it just looks really fantastic. Now, also more importantly, with this vehicle being more of a sporty crossover with the V6, I'm interested in seeing how it performs getting on the highway. But when it comes to front vision, you have plenty of it. However, the hood is long. It's like being in a muscle car. That's what it's like to me, because the hood does sit a bit high up. Now, the A-pillars are not very aggressive at all. Side mirrors are decently sized, so I can see what's in my blind spots. And really, overall, I have a lot of vision to work with here. But most certainly, your presence is known once you drive this vehicle around. Now, of course, I'm probably the first person in Massachusetts to be driving the GV70 on roads right now, but this is really incredible. I love the infotainment system, how big the screen really is, and then also you get some of the same technology that we see with Hyundai products, such as when you use the turn signals, you get those blind spot cameras. Love to see that. I want to see more brands do that in the future. So let's quickly get on the highway here and see how it performs. Impressive, very impressive. When it comes to insulation and road noise, you don't hear any of it at all. What I also like too is the technology that we have here to work with. So you have a massive infotainment system and screen that you can clearly see what's on this display. It is a touchscreen. However, I'll probably just use the rotary dial and the quick access buttons just to quickly get to different settings and menus here. But this is really nice. This is what you expect for a vehicle at around $65,000. Now, also I like too is with the head-up display, you are going to have that blind spot detection. It will show up. So you don't really need to worry about looking over as much. This vehicle is really safe. But also you have the technology from Hyundai as well. So when you use the turn signals, you get the blind spot cameras. And it just really helps create a luxurious vibe with this vehicle. This is really nice. This is most certainly a step up over Hyundai products, but also brands like Maserati or other non-German brands are really supposed to be luxurious. They're supposed to have a nice interior. I think this could give the Maserati Levante a run for its money without question. I also think at around $64,000, I think it might be better than the Alfa Romeo Stelvio as well. Now, of course, when it comes to steering input, it's not as aggressive. You have nice 10 and 2 positions, so you do feel that sporty nature to this vehicle. But it is going to be a little more on the luxurious side, even though we do have that V6. But this is really nice for a first impression. Now let's put it in Sport Plus mode. Oh, okay. All right. It's come to life. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is incredible. Steering tightens up very aggressively, and there is a lot of weight to the steering. Wow. Now in sport mode, the digital gauge cluster does change up a bit, becomes a lot more aggressive, but I love how the GV70 comes to life. It's like you awaken a beast. That V6 really wakens up. Let's see how it corners. Some body roll, but not too bad. I like the steering feedback. Now, one thing though to keep in mind is that, say you're looking at a non-German brand, you're looking at maybe Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is going to be more on the sporty side of things. It'll give you some of that Italian styling. However, it's not going to be on the luxurious end. You're going to notice that it's not as refined as, say, a BMW or Audi. However, with the Genesis GV70, it has some very nice luxurious aspects to it that stand out to me as a driver, but it still has that sporty characteristic and quality that you're looking for if you want to have a fun and engaging driving experience behind the wheel of a crossover. Now, with this being a first impression for the GV70, I am really impressed with this vehicle and what they've done to it. Now, this is the first Genesis I've driven in about 2.5 years, and the ride quality is smooth. Now, we don't have the best roads up here in New England, but it's handling them very well. The suspension is nice and soft, even though when you do put it in Sport and Sport Plus mode, the steering gets very tight and the car becomes far more aggressive, but you can still drive it. It's dailyable, and that's what's really standing out to me right now. Now, as I make my way back towards the dealership, I do want to give my final impressions here. And in Sport Plus mode, this is the mode that if you are a car enthusiast, you're going to want to be in at all times. Now, there is some body roll, so obviously this is not going to be a crossover. You're going to be driving very aggressively on tight back roads or even mountain roads, so keep that in mind, because I think what Genesis is trying to do here is give you a luxury crossover and a luxury feel that has that performance that you're looking for, especially if you are power hungry like myself. But when it comes to the interior itself, when you look at the interior layout and just the environment you find yourself in, what you're going to love is the interior pieces, that you have this red contrast trim that stands out. Now, it's not soft touch padding, so if you are that type of person that's looking for a very high classy and luxurious interior, then you're probably going to go more towards Mercedes Benz, probably Audi and BMW. However, I think when it comes to the center console, the technology, just the way everything's blended in together, this is aesthetically pleasing to look at. And not only from the inside, but also the outside as well. The way the vehicle looks, it's really nice. It's refreshing. It's great to see in a mundane segment. I think we've gotten tired of looking at a BMW X3, Audi Q5, Mercedes Benz GLC. We want to see something new, and Genesis is giving us that. And really, this is incredible. This is a nice vehicle, and I do think that if you are looking for something that stands out, maybe you're looking at, say, a Jaguar F-Pace or a Maserati Levante, Alfa Romeo Stelvio, take a look at the Genesis GV70 Prestige for sure. This is really nice. This is incredible. It gives you that feedback. And even though I'm not a big fan of heavier steering that becomes aggressive like that, like I want to feel more of a natural feel with the vehicle, I think the weight of the steering is perfect, especially where if you are looking for more of an aggressive style to your crossover and your daily driver, this is exactly what you're going to want to feel. Now, as you can tell, when you don't use that turn signal when you're getting off the highway, the steering kicks in. But also, when you take both hands off the steering wheel, you do get a notification that says put your hands on the steering wheel. So this is a great all-around vehicle. It's luxurious, it's safe, it's performance-oriented, and wow, I am really enjoying this driving experience. Now, to use this infotainment system while driving, of course, you will have your home button, and then you can just use the rotary dial and the touchpad to access different menus, of course. And it's just really easy to use, in my opinion. Also, very cleanly laid out for sure. You can see everything very clearly, very user-friendly for sure. And this is where brands like Mazda, who want to start getting in the luxury segment, are going to fall a bit short because they don't offer you a touchscreen, whereas Genesis will. Now, of course, we're not going to be comparing a car that's $40,000 to one that's $64,000, but this is really nice. Now, also another thing too to point out here, while we're at a red light, or now that it's turned green, is that the car will notify you when the vehicle in front of you starts moving. So if you are looking at your phone, which you shouldn't be doing, you'll at least have that notification so people behind you won't beep at you as you're just standing there looking like a fool. So it's really great. I like the technology that we have here too. Also, it doesn't seem too invasive in my opinion, because I think a lot of brands are going with this futuristic feel where the technology is right in your face and they start drawing in with eye candy. Whereas with the digital gauge cluster, it looks like it's analog. It really does. And when you have those features where when the vehicle in front of you moves up and you get that notification, it just feels natural. I like the interior, I like what Genesis has done. They've made this interior seem really driver friendly and user friendly as well, and it's a great place to be. And even though I would say that I think they definitely need to have more soft touch padding for a vehicle at $64,000, I think that this is perfectly fine though. The interior quality, the road noise, is not much of it. And then, of course, if you're looking for more of that softer and quieter feel, you just put the drive mode in comfort, and the engine note does quiet down a bit. The way the vehicle handles and performs definitely softens up. So if you're looking for more of that luxurious feel and you're looking for that more laid back driving style, then that's exactly what the Genesis G70 is going to offer you in comfort mode. Now, of course, we all know that the audio is being pumped in to the interior, but I think that's perfectly fine, because when you want to have that aggressive nature, you want to have that feel, you want that feedback, you can put it in Sport Plus mode and you're going to have an absolute blast behind the wheel. So for a first impression, I love this vehicle. I do want to spend a lot more time with the GV70 in the future, but this is really nice. I'm really impressed with what Genesis has done. And again, I don't know where we categorize this, because the GV80 is really a poor man's Bentley Bentayga, but what is the Genesis GV70? I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know where that fits in, because of course, pricing wise, that's right in line with the BMW X3 M40i, also the Audi SQ5 and Mercedes Benz GLC 43. But I don't know. When it comes to the exterior, it really stands out. And as I was driving by the dealership today, I was like, that is amazing. I think it looks better than the GV80 in my opinion. It looks more streamlined. It looks more futuristic. And of course, the pricing is going to be very appealing as well for someone who is on a budget. Now, I was not planning on driving this vehicle today. In fact, I was just, trying to schedule some stuff out for the week. So that's why this is all raw emotion. And I think it actually helps me really kind of express my feeling towards this vehicle, because I'm really impressed. I'm really loving this vehicle for sure. So at the end of the day, what are my final thoughts for the Genesis GV70? Well, to start off with, the exterior is really nice. It's striking, also very unique, because when you look at the rear end, it looks somewhat hatchback-like, but I would argue it looks like a shooting brake to a certain degree, and maybe it's just because I haven't seen a lot of shooting brakes over the years, and especially where in the United States we don't really get them, it looks like that. So it doesn't look like the same typical compact crossover that we see from BMW, Audi, and Mercedes Benz. And then up front, it really looks amazing. As I drove by the dealership, I was like, wow, that looks really good. I had to turn around and try scheduling a review, and thankfully they gave me the keys for this vehicle today, and I'm so glad because it looks fantastic from the outside. Also, I think it looks better than the GV80, just my opinion. Then when you take a look on the inside, you have a nice two-tone interior on this model, and it's really driver-centric, the way it's laid out. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that with the infotainment system, it looks like it's just a regular screen attached to the dashboard and not a touchscreen. However, it is, so it's not like Mazda or Acura or even Lexus, so you can actually use it in different ways. You will have a rotary dial and touchpad, quick access buttons as well, but also, as I said during the test drive, the technology is not thrown in your face. So even the digital gauge cluster, they look like they're analog gauges, and I like that. I like that design. It certainly stands out to me as a brand that, in my opinion, is an attainable Bentley. It is an attainable Bentley brand. And just from the exterior design, I think the interior as well, they're trying to go more classy as well. And I noticed that with the driving experience and dynamics, where when you put it in Sport Plus mode, yeah, the steering becomes very weighted and heavy, but when it comes to the cornering ability, you still get that body roll. So it's trying to be more luxurious and have that softer suspension. So it's kind of blending luxury and performance at the same time, but you still get that sports car DNA that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy once they get behind the wheel of this vehicle and put it in Sport Plus mode. And speaking of the driving experience, I think if you're looking for a fun daily driver, the GV70 is going to be the vehicle for you in that regard. Now, as I said during the test drive, there's not a lot of soft touch padding for the dashboard, and that's somewhat to be expected just because it is a luxury compact crossover. So it's not going to feel like a Mercedes Benz on the inside. It's not going to feel like a Lamborghini Urus or an Aston Martin DBX. That's not what this vehicle is supposed to be. So keep that in mind, but I think when it comes to the dashboard layout, it wraps around you. It makes it feel as though you're in a cockpit of a fighter jet. So I think people are definitely going to like that. But everything is within arm's reach, and also it has some unique styling where it has carbon fiber inlay on the door rests. It has a small digital display for your 3-level heated and ventilated seats. We don't really see that. That would be something that you would find in a Bentley. So I think the GV70 is continuing on with this legacy of being an attainable premium luxury brand, and that's why I think I'm really falling in love with this crossover. Just from the exterior, it definitely has a striking road presence and definitely creates a pause. I had to take a deep breath and look at this vehicle because it does stand out. And I think if you are looking to be an individual and you're being unique in your neighborhood where other people are driving BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes Benz, you can drive this and draw quite a lot of attention and still have that performance that can keep up with the BMW X3 M40i or Audi SQ5. But overall, I like what this vehicle provides. It's very comfortable on the interior, exterior is really nice, and also the driving dynamics are exactly what I was hoping for a vehicle that is supposed to be sporty and athletic. So I think you should definitely take a look at this vehicle, test drive it, experience it for yourself, because I do think that you're going to love this, especially where at around $64,000, you might be looking at other non-German luxury brands like Alfa Romeo, Jaguar, and even Maserati. And I actually think that at this price point, it's better than those three brands. I think it's better than the Maserati Levante, even though I think the Levante has a better sound when it comes to the exhaust. And then, of course, Alfa Romeo, it's Italian, so you're going to like that style, you're going to fall into that trap. But I think Genesis is giving you a vehicle that resembles some premium luxury brands without paying the premium luxury price. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Boston Auto Blog so you can see what I'm up to and what vehicles I'll be featuring in the future. And I will see you guys next time.